Around Africa, girls are struggling to stay in school due to menstrual periods. In Tanzania, the situation is grim. UNICEF studies have shown that the girls miss up to 6 days in a month when they have their periods. And for the last 4 years, I have been working on my communities in my country to come up with innovative, commercially viable solutions that could help to keep the girls in school. And I'm here to share my story of how a social enterprise can help to keep the girls in school. One of the main challenges is that menstruation is still a taboo subject in many communities. And breaking down these barriers is very critical. For example, I had no idea about what menstruation is before I started bleeding. And what happened to my friend back in school was totally puzzling. I was 11 years old in primary school, and then something terrible happened. One morning, my best friend stood up, wanting to go to the washroom. And all of a sudden, at the back of the class, we had the boys booing, laughing, and making all sorts of noises, only to realize that her school uniform was stained with blood. And all the girls we came around, we wanted to protect her, so we took her to the washroom. And none of us knew what was happening. And then the rumor started. Some said she was cursed. Others said that she had started practicing the games for elders, which is an innuendo in my country to talk about sex. And others said that her grandmother was a witch and that her spirits were haunting her. That's why she's bleeding. And after a few minutes, she came off the washroom, ran across the field, and disappeared. And that was the last time she ever came back to school. For weeks, what happened to my best friend back in school played in my mind. I had nobody to ask, or rather I was scared. How do I even ask about this? Until one morning, when I woke up and I found my dress soaked in blood. I'm glad I was at home, and I'm lucky my mother was there to guide me through my first menstrual experience. But I remember she looked me in the eyes and warned me against playing or hanging out with the boys because I had matured. But that's a story for another day. I come from a middle-class family. My father was a civil engineer, and my mother a civil servant. But I couldn't get sanitary pads all the time. Sometimes I was just too shy to ask, and sometimes there was simply not enough money. So I had to use a piece of clothes that are always prepared. And in Swahili, we call them madaso. When I graduated with a law degree in 2011, my parents were overjoyed. Can you imagine, the first lawyer in the family? But I said I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wish you could see their faces. Because most of the time, this is a disappointing choice of career. I learned soap making, and I started an initiative called Choo Salama in 2013 in public schools. And the goal was to educate school children on the importance of using the toilets. I didn't know what it took to be an entrepreneur, but deep down, I knew I wanted to be a social entrepreneur, the one that will do business and have a positive impact in society. Through our program, we visited so many schools, and then I realized the girls were still facing the same challenges that we faced so many years ago. Talking about menstruation was still a taboo, and many couldn't come to school when they're in their periods. And then we did a research and found out that 60% of the girls had skipped school when they're in their periods. And 80% have never used a sanitary pad. And most of them were using chicken feathers, rugs, old newspapers, and they knew nothing about menstrual hygiene. In one of the schools that I visited, I met Rukia, a 17-year-old girl. She had used a sanitary pad before, but she could not afford them on a monthly basis. And then she told me something quite shocking. She said, sometimes she and her friends, they had to go and have sex with motorcycle taxi drivers so that they can get money to buy sanitary pads. Then I thought, there must be a solution, a way to give them an affordable alternative. I came up with an idea of developing a reusable sanitary pad. And after 6 months of working with local tailors, we finally made our first pad, which was made from absorbent cotton material that could last for a period of 1 year, and it cost only $5 for a pack of 4. Although I was making the pads, but I felt that I was failing as an entrepreneur. I was thinking, how am I going to mass produce the products? And I had no knowledge about manufacturing. Where do I get the machines? Where do I get the skilled people? And on the ground, we even faced a bigger challenge from the local authority leaders, which most of them are men. When we shared our idea of teaching the girls about menstrual hygiene, they said, you want to teach your girls about sex. These girls have their mothers, their aunts at home, and they're going to be taught all that. And in the production center, we didn't have a standard for a reusable pad. So I had to travel all the way to Nairobi to go and learn more about it. And then a miracle happened. I got an opportunity to enroll in a 6-day training prepared by the UN called Empretech. And in the training, I got to learn what it really takes to start, grow, and run a successful enterprise. I also met other budding entrepreneurs, and it really gave me the confidence to believe in myself and the product that I was making, a sanitary pad with a purpose. Since we started production in 2015, we have been able to train 25 local women who are working at our production centers. And we have worked with the government and non-government organizations, and we have been able to reach more than 100,000 girls across Tanzania. I get encouraged when I see a sanitary pad with a purpose. We have also created a network of 250 women, and we call them ELEA ambassadors. These are women selling the pads door to door. They're determined to transform their lives and that of their communities. And on average, an ambassador earns up to $40 as a profit a month. And to us, a sanitary pad is not just a product. It's a bridge where the conversation starts. I'll give an example of Zubeida, a 40-year-old woman, a single mother of 4, and for the longest time, she has been struggling to find a sustainable source of income, and she has finally found one. To me, Zubeida is the true definition of a champion. There are many challenges in growing a business, but I get encouraged and inspired when I see the positive impact that our Pad with Purpose is making. In one of the schools that we did our project, we got the feedback from the teachers. They said the absenteeism level has gone down from 23% to 5% after the students have started using our pads. And the 5% is due to severe stomach pains. And that's another issue that needs to be addressed. We also train male teachers, male students, and other men in different communities. and we call them menstrual men. Yes, we leave no one behind. Yes, because the word menstruation itself starts with men. It's important to engage and educate them so that they educate other men in their communities. That menstruation is not a taboo, but rather it's where life begins. I and my team are committed to building a business that will make profit, but what encourages and inspires us is the positive impact that we are making in the lives of young girls, helping them stay in school, finish their education cycle, realize their dreams, which will open more opportunities to them. Thank you.